Right, today we're going to be building an API endpoint inside a cloud function that calls an LLM to rewrite some text in a different style. Here's what it looks like. So we have this URL up the top here which sends a post request with some text and a style that we want to write this text in. So we say friendly. And then we hit send on that and that will go off and call OpenAI to rewrite this text and return it in the style that we want here. So maybe you have a web application or something that lets the user rewrite some text and you want to give them the ability to rewrite it in a different style. So you just make a basic API call to some backend that I'm going to show you how to build in this tutorial. You can change the style in here and you can call it again. So we might say aggressive and it will give you the response back in an aggressive format. So this is a really easy way to add some basic AI functionality into an existing web application or anything you've got that can make an API call. In terms of the architecture of what we're going to be building today, it looks a bit like this. So we're going to be making an HTTP post request from anywhere, basically. I'm just using Insomnium, which is like a Postman clone. And that's going to call a cloud function via HTTP. That cloud function is going to be hosted on AWS Lambda, and it's going to be written in TypeScript. That cloud function is basically going to relay the text from this HTTP post request, send it off to OpenAI with the style, get the response back from OpenAI and send it back to the user. So this is really just acting as a pass-through between the front end and OpenAI. The main reason we do this is because OpenAI needs a secret API key. We obviously don't want to expose that in the front end, but this will also allow us to do stuff like content moderation, authentication, all that kind of stuff if we wanted to in the future. So it's obviously good practice to have this done on the back end. And this is going to be a very, very basic function that just does this calling and ferries it off to OpenAI. So the first thing we're going to need is an AWS account, which I've got here. And if you navigate to Lambda in AWS, we're just going to be creating a Lambda function manually and then uploading the code to it from our browser. But obviously, you can do this with the CDK, you can do this with automation scripts and things like that. But just for the purposes of this video, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to create a new AWS Lambda function, author it from scratch, and just call it content rewriter. Just leave all this default, Node.js 22 is absolutely fine. We'll create this Lambda function, and then we need to give it some code. Now, Lambda isn't too far away from actually being able to run TypeScript natively, but as time of recording this, we still need to write our TypeScript in TypeScript and then compile it into JavaScript before uploading it to AWS Lambda. So if you wanted to, you could just type JavaScript in here, but we're going to do this in TypeScript. So I've created a new folder on VS Code. I'm creating a tsconfig JSON, so I'll just bash some basic tsconfig JSON into this. Compiler options will be ES2020, module will be set to ESNext, and the resolution will be bundler. And we're going to use strict mode in TypeScript. It doesn't really matter any of this. And then we're going to have an entry point. So all we need is one file to be able to write this AWS Lambda handler. So our file is just going to be called index.ts. We'll create that there. We'll create that in a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to compile that index.ts with TypeScript, which will give us an index.js JavaScript, which we can upload to AWS Lambda. We're also going to need a few packages. So if I create a package JSON, I'll just create a basic one, give it a name, call it Lambda TS, call it 1. And this is quite important actually. So this type module in a package JSON is going to allow us to do ES module imports instead of using the require JS syntax. So that's quite important. We're going to create a build script in here. What the build script is going to do is it's going to run TSC, which will compile our index.ts into an index.js. And then I'm just going to run the zip command to zip it into a zip file. And that's just going to zip everything in this directory into a zip file. And then that zip file we can upload to AWS. We don't need a license, that's all good. Cool, so let's go ahead and create a index.ts file. This is going to be all the code that we need for our Lambda function. And in here, we're just going to have a couple of imports. One thing we will need to do is go onto the command line and install, npm install OpenAI. So the OpenAI npm package is just going to make it a lot easier to call OpenAI from a JavaScript or TypeScript application. It's basically a wrapper or an SDK around their API. You could do it with HTTP fetch requests, but we're just going to use the OpenAI package. And this is the reason that we've put type module into our package JSON, because once this is installed, it will allow us to import it like this. I'm just going to import a type from AWS Lambda, and then we can do import OpenAI from OpenAI. This is a TypeScript package that gives us some types for the AWS Lambda functions. So we'll install that as well. We'll do npm install. This can just be a dev dependency. Cool, so we've got our packages imported. The next thing we need to do is just create a function that AWS Lambda is going to use as the entry point for our Lambda code. So if I just export a const called handler, and it's important to remember the name of this function. So most people will call this handler or they'll call this main. And that's just going to be an async function that takes a type event, and that's where we use this AWS proxy event. Because we're calling this AWS Lambda via an HTTP request, then the event coming in will be typed to this object here. We're not actually using API Gateway, but it's the same basic type from this AWS Lambda package. So create this as an arrow function, and in here we're going to create a request body which comes from that event. So this event has a string property on it, which is the string request that comes in. And then we're just going to parse that with JSON.parse. So if I go back over to the example where I was calling this JSON here that I'm sending in the HTTP post request body, this is going to come in as a string. So we're going to parse that into a request body object. And then what we can actually do is put some typing on here. So we'll type it as text and style. So I'm basically telling TypeScript that this is what the shape of that JSON object is going to look like. Very rarely use as in TypeScript, but this is a good case for using it because there's no other way for it to know what type this string is. So the next thing we need to do is create a new instance of the OpenAI class, and this is where we're going to pass in the API key. Remember I talked to you with the infrastructure part of this? The reason we're doing this on the back end in a Lambda function and not just calling this straight from the front end is that we need to have a secret API key from OpenAI, which you get by signing up to OpenAI for a free account and then putting some credits in there and then getting an API key. So I'm actually going to get my API key from process.env, and then I'm going to create an environment variable called OpenAI key. So this, when we create our Lambda function, if I just copy that, when I create this Lambda function, I can go in here and go into configuration, and then under environment variables, because I'm doing all this manually, I'll have to do this manually. I'm going to create an environment variable there, and that's going to be my API key for OpenAI. So if I save that, when we upload the code for this, it will be able to access this as process.env.openai key. Cool, so let's go back to making the actual API call. So an AI response variable is going to restore the result from OpenAI, and we're going to call openai.chat.completions.create. So the completions endpoint is the endpoint on OpenAI that does most of the chat stuff. The reason it's called completions is actually quite historical. Originally, LLMs were LLMs do work by just predicting the next piece of text in an input string. So it's essentially completing a piece of string. Now, these days, there's a lot of extra prompts that get thrown on top of the stuff that you send to OpenAI. But the sort of basic concept of giving it some text and allowing the LLM to complete that text is why this is called a completions API. But essentially, that's the chat request that you're making. So if we run this create function and we'll give that an object, this is where we pick the model. So I'm just going to pick GPT-4o mini because it's small, and we're going to create an array of messages. So an array of messages is the whole chat context that you're sending off to OpenAI with every request. Remember, OpenAI doesn't remember context from what you're sending it, so you have to send it the full chat history every single time. So our message is going to start with a system prompt. So that's going to be role system, and then the content of that system prompt is going to be the thing that tells OpenAI how to transform that input from the user. So back in our example here, this is the text coming from the user. This is the user message, essentially. Our system prompt is going to take this style, and it's going to say, rewrite the user's message into this style. And then whatever style they put in there goes into our system prompt. So I will put it in as, you are a copy editor that rewrites text in a request body.style style. When the user gives you some text, respond with the rewritten text only. So that's going to stop OpenAI coming back and saying, oh, hey, thanks for that. Here's your text, and then putting the text in Markdown or something. We're just going to say to it, give me the text back verbatim so that we can pass that back on to the user. Great, so that's our system message. We then need a user message, and the content of the user message is just going to come straight from that text field. So we can just put in request body.text. So what this is going to do is it's going to say to OpenAI, here's a system prompt that tells you how to respond to user messages, and then here's the user message from the user. So if we make that call, what we're going to get back is an array of choices. It always gives you an array of choices. You nearly always just want to use choices 0. And then inside that array of choices, we'll have a message, and that message will have some content. And we can just go ahead and return that content back to the user in an HTTP response object. So this is how AWS Lambda works with HTTP posts. You create a function like this called handler, and you take in an event that's tied to the proxy event v2 like this, and you return back an object that's got status code and body. So you're basically returning back an HTTP response object back to AWS Lambda, and AWS Lambda will just ferry that response back to the user. So our response is going to have a text field, and it's going to return the text inside this response concept here. So we're not doing any extra processing, we're just taking the response from OpenAI and we're sending it back to the user. So that's really it. That's all you actually have to do. And this is the reason I chose AWS Lambda for this, because if this was on like an Express.js API or something like that, then there'd be a load of extra code around this to make it work as an API. But the nice thing about AWS Lambda is you literally just have one function, and then we upload this function to AWS Lambda, and it can handle all of the scaling of that. It can handle resource allocation. It can handle routing it to HTTP requests. All that sort of stuff is done for us. We just need this function. So I'm going to go ahead and build this function into some JavaScript. So if I do npm run build on the command line now that I've installed TypeScript, you will see it will do TSC, which will go in here and it will build us an index.js, which is essentially a compiled version of the JavaScript from our TypeScript code. And this index.js is what we want to upload to AWS Lambda. Now, because this uses import OpenAI from OpenAI, we also need to upload this npm modules folder to AWS Lambda. Now, there are a bunch of other ways we could do that. We could create an AWS Lambda layer that included this dependency. But basically, the easiest thing to do is just to zip up this index.js and the node modules folder, upload them to AWS Lambda, and then we'll be able to run this on AWS. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take package.json, package.lock.json, index.js, and node modules, and just put these into a zip file that we can upload to AWS. Obviously, the correct way of doing this would be to set up a continuous integration pipeline and all that sort of stuff. But for now, we've got this index.zip file, which has got the files that AWS needs. So we can go back into here, go into code, and upload from zip file. So we'll do that. We'll drag our zip file into AWS, and we should be good to go. So you can see once we've uploaded that, it will go ahead and it will redeploy our Lambda function for us. And I think if I refresh this page, you should actually be able to see the contents of that Lambda function in this code window. Side note, I really don't like the way AWS has a code window inside the console, because I think it lends people to actually want to type code into AWS Lambda, which is a massive security and productivity nightmare. So please don't do that. But you can see here, it is not working. Anyway, whatever. So now we've got our code uploaded to AWS. We're going to go in here and put the actual configuration variable onto that. And the next thing we want to do is add in a function URL. So if I go into the configuration and go under function URL and just click create function URL, we don't want any authentication for the time being, but this is where you could add on AWS authentication. So if you're using Cognito or anything like that, then you could secure this. We're just going to give it a blanket policy statement that lets anybody call it. That will give us a function URL. We can copy and paste that function URL into here, and that will let us call the function. So that's our endpoint. You can test it out just like I showed you at the start, and this is now ready to be integrated into your web application or some automated workflow or whatever you want really. HTTP endpoints like this are super flexible. You can call this from pretty much anywhere on the web. We haven't even put authentication on this, maybe we should, but we can do that in the future. If you dig into AWS, then there are ways to put custom domain onto this. You can incorporate it into an API gateway with other Lambda functions to build up a complete serverless API. I do actually have another video on here, which is on your screen, and that should talk to you more about how to build a serverless API on AWS. But until then, I'll see you in the next video, and have fun just building fun little functions like this in TypeScript.